I know that this seems a bit early for a lot of you, but there is some conversation amongst some of the Democrats, which I'm pretty sure that includes the politicians and the voters. Some voters are definitely talking about this. Since I'm trying to encourage people, Democrat voters and left-leaning independent voters to not focus on the White House news right now. We're looking at how are we going to win not only the Senate and Congress in 2026, but also the presidency in 2028. Now, on the Republican side, I mean, of course, you know, most of us don't care who the Republican nominee is because we're going to vote against them regardless. But my prediction says that it's more than likely going to be JD Vance to be the nominee on the Republican side. I'm about 80 to 90% certain of that. If by any chance it's not him, if by any random chance he decides not to run, I think it'll be Ron DeSantis because he's another, he's like one of the top rising stars of the Republican side, the MAGA side, the right wing side. And he was the one that a lot of us thought was going to be the nominee until, you know, the other thing happened. So the prediction for the Republican side from me is it's going to be JD Vance or Ron DeSantis. Now, on the Democrat side, it gets a little more complicated because I am more than certain there's going to be way more of them running again than there will be Republicans. And as I've always told people, I get tired of too many people running on either side. I mean, in 2020, we had what, 25, 26 of them? And most of them were good, but it's like, we don't need this many people. You know, you think back to 2008, on the Democrat side, it was primarily Obama and Hillary, and on the Republican side, it was John McCain, Mike Huckabee, and Rudy Giuliani. Fast forward to 2012, it was, you know, on the Republican side, I mean, of course, Obama was the incumbent. On the Republican side, it was mainly Mitt Romney, Rick Santorum, and Newt Gingrich. I think there might have been one other name in there, but that person obviously didn't last long. Of course, you had 17 Republicans running in 2016, and then, of course, the two Democrats, Hillary and Bernie. And and now here we are. So, you know, I always thought that back when Biden was in the race, I said whoever wins 2024, the field for 2028 is going to be insanely huge because I thought there's going to be a lot of Democrats running, there's going to be a lot of Republicans running. Well, now, if I had to narrow it down to the top three choices in terms of, you know, probability, who's most likely to be the nominee, it's going to be either Gavin Newsom, Josh Shapiro, or my governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Now, some Democrats are kind of iffy about Whitmer now, not because they don't think that she's doing a good job. Obviously, she is. But, I mean, we lost with two women, and I still hold on to the belief, and I know that there's a lot of people who won't admit this, but it's like I still feel that a lot of people are just not going to vote for some of those people simply because they're women. And, you know, my stance has been, hey, I think that Kamala Harris had some good policy stances, and I can give them to you in another video. Gretchen Whitmer has done some good stuff here in Michigan. So it's like Democrats, I think, are kind of looking at that saying, if we want to be safe, we should just pick a man to be the nominee, and then he can pick a woman as his vice pick. Now, I told a lot of you, I said, my potential favorite choice right now, my potential favorite ticket right now would be Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. Now, I really like Josh Shapiro. I think he did some pretty good things in Pennsylvania. I think he's still doing pretty great things out there. But there's also a couple other names I would, if they ran, I would like to see what they have going on. I mean, there's a potential talk of, again, iffy about it because of the woman thing, but Alexandra Cortez and also one of my favorite governors, Tim Walz. And, you know, I just feel like he's got it bad right now because if people really took the time to analyze each of the policies that he did in his state, from free school, meals for kids, 12 weeks paid family leave, 12 weeks paid sick leave, red flag laws for guns, universal background checks, public free college if you make under 80K. I mean, those are things that Democrats should have just been constantly repeating, and he should have been constantly repeating that. Honestly, I was waiting to see Harris get elected. That way I could see him run for president after that. But on the Republican side, it's going to be either DeSantis or Vance. On the Democrat side, it looks like it might be either It's either going to be Newsom or Shapiro. Now, who do I think would have the higher chance between Newsom and Shapiro? Even though I like them both pretty much equally, I think the edge kind of goes more to Newsom because he's been governor longer. You know, he got elected governor in 2018. He beat the recall attempt in 2021, which, by the way, that was an embarrassing recall because nobody really had a legitimate reason for why. The man had a 61% approval rating in his state. Most of the people in the state were still voting for him, and you had these Republicans like Larry Elder lying and saying most of the state hates him. Well, that's funny that if most of the state is against him, how did he beat every opponent by 20 to 30 percentage points? I mean, if Newsom was living in either a red state or, matter of fact, no, take that away. Even if he was living in a mixed state, a battleground state, that might have could have gone differently. But he's in California, which is arguably the bluest state in the country, right up there with New York and Massachusetts and Illinois. So if I had to sum it down to just one of them in terms of who do I think the nominees will be, and I could be totally wrong because it's way early. We're not even going to get to that point until 2028. But I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom versus J.D. Vance. Now, could it be Josh Shapiro versus Ron DeSantis? It could be that, but I see it being Newsom versus Vance. Now, who's Newsom going to pick as a mate? I think he should pick Whitmer, but if he picks Shapiro, I won't be upset about that either. I think that'll be a great ticket. As far as Vance and or DeSantis, I mean, who are they going to choose as a vice pick? I don't know, and I don't really care. They could pick Mike Pompeo. They could pick Lindsey Graham. They could pick Ted Cruz or John Bolton. Or honestly, it doesn't matter to me because, like I said, we're going to be against all those people regardless. I don't care if he picks John Bolton. I don't really care. So that's my ultimate prediction. I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom versus J.D. Vance. That's like my first choice. I would put that in first place. And in which case, Democrats have to start preparing now. We can't wait until last minute to decide to be interested. Because, like I said, if we don't get the Democrats to win 2026 in the Senate or to win back the Congress, and after that, if for sure if we lose the presidency in 2028, I told you, gloves off. I'm out. I can't do it. So that's my prediction. And regardless of where you stand on the spectrum, regardless of how you feel about the candidates, what do you see happening? So, I don't know. You give me your thoughts. You comment below, like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Until next time.